This is Sumter County's heart of Florida landfill, which is about 3 miles from the residents which felt the ground tremors. The ground tremors experienced by the nearby residents created cracks in Florida's karst limestone and resulted in loss of their well water, which migrated into other areas of the aquifer. The heart of Florida landfill also sits on Florida's karst limestone and is full of cracks and channels. If there is a deep well breakthrough, contaminants like arsenic, cadmium, and cancer-causing organic compounds could migrate into the aquifer and permanently contaminate the groundwater. Once the groundwater is polluted, it's polluted forever. A 3,000-foot exploratory well is currently being drilled at the landfill. The tremors which the local residents experience may be due to the drilling activity.
My name is Lexi Munns. I am a resident here in Sumter County, and I have resided here in Sumterville near the Sumterville landfill for about 2 years.
My name's Hoss Hacker. I live in Sumterville, and I've been a resident here for 30 years, lifelong resident of Sumter County from Wildwood. And since beginning of 2026, we've been experiencing tremors at our house here. One time stood out real bad from 10 to 15 seconds shaking, but in the other ones seemed less than that, but still window shaking experience.
Sometime in early March, I experienced some shaking in the house. It was for a longer period of time than I had experienced in the past year. And it was rattling walls. It was rattling the windows. It lasted, I'd say, anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds. And it was the longest one that I had experienced to date. I would say that the shaking that I experienced seemed longer than a blast that a mine would have. Okay, so about a month after I experienced the shaking at the house, I no longer had water at my house. The well had collapsed. We called out some professionals, and there was no longer any water in the well. It was completely useless, so we had to have another one drilled here shortly after that to restore water to the property.
Since the beginning of 2026, we've experienced ground shaking episodes here. And one time when I was inside of our house, everything on our kitchen table shook. The windows and the doors shook real bad for, between 10 to 15 seconds. And I have experienced this previous other times, but this one incident was on January 22nd between 2 and 3 p.m. when I noticed this one doing this. But as far as the other ones, I did not think to even document them because I thought they could have been at first a blast from the mine, which usually we've had them over the years and they're just a short blast, nothing that lasted the way these have lasted with the rumbling of the windows. And so far our well has been intact with no issues with anything.
Since I found out about the deep well injection proposal, it is definitely something that is very concerning. Just knowing our aquifer is definitely at risk. There's always leaks. Something can always go wrong with pipes, wells. So the idea that our aquifer is that close to something that is going to be carrying and disposing of waste of whatever material is concerning to me. Our infrastructure on the planet is all connected, so as a resident of Florida my entire life, it is concerning to know that our aquifer is evidently linked to our rivers, our oceans. It's going to affect our wildlife. So with that in mind, and just drinking water alone, it's very concerning to know that something could be pumped through and there could be the potential of toxic material going into our aquifer here in Sumter County and leaking into other counties surrounding our area.
I totally agree with what Lexi has just had to say about the deep injection well that they're wanting to install here, because we're so close to our springs here, which one of them Shady Brook, which flows into Lake Panasoffkee, which flows into the Withlacoochee River and through Citrus County and flows out to the Gulf. Plus here where we're on residential wells, we're concerned for our life well-being here and our health of something leaching up into the aquifer and consuming it.
I do have a question for our government officials in the state of Florida, just as what is the one good benefit that is going to come from drilling beneath our aquifer with the potential of a leak that could implement the lives of definitely our county, if not surrounding counties? Where is the good coming from an injection like this?
I am thankful for the Citrus County Board of Commissioners for realizing there's an issue over here in Sumter County and wanting to spearhead it before hopefully it gets started. I just wish the city of Bushnell officials would do the same thing and nip this in the bud before it even gets started and puts the whole state at risk.
On behalf of myself and Haas, I would like to take this time to thank you for listening to the concerns of the residents here in Sumter County, especially in Sumterville. As a born and raised Floridian, it's so important to preserve as much of Florida as possible and the livelihood of those of us who live here and love to call this place home. We hope that you take this into consideration as you further investigate.